Story 1. Hitting my head makes me feel like I turn into a caveman. If I hit my head on something, it doesn't even need to hurt that bad, but it sets me off. Anywhere else on my body, I might rub it and say, owies, but my head, I'll become unintelligible and start swinging. Story 2. Someone who starts telling me I need to do X thing when I have already started doing it really upsets me, especially at work. Mise en place. Look at what is being done. I know what you need to be getting on with. Why are you here? Go away and get your own work done. Story 3. The fact that Cigna basically gets away with fraud with their out-of-network coverage is troubling. Now, they use a private equity-backed company to negotiate rates so they can pay next to nothing and get a kickback from the company as a fun bonus. Our entire insurance industry needs a complete overhaul. Story 4. Jerks who park their gigantic pickup trucks to take up 2 parking spaces. Yes, we all know you're ashamed of your small demeanor. You don't need to add unpleasant person to your arsenal of traits. Story 5. Seeing people blame victims is astonishing. For example, if someone gets robbed in an alley, people will say, well, why didn't you walk a different path? As if they had a choice. We're saying things like, well, she was asking for it because of what she was wearing. Since when is being a rapist justified? It wouldn't make sense if I got into a fight with my neighbor. So the next day I burned their house down because they were asking for it. I've always thought this was basic logic, but apparently some people don't think like that. Story 6. I live in a society that relies heavily on cars, and I need one to survive. At any time, it can malfunction and cost me a significant amount of money. If I could afford to live in a big city where I didn't need a car, I would do so in a heartbeat. Story 7. Koch Industries is accused of subverting democracy through narrative twisting and rampant propaganda. They are labeled as pure evil, and their influence has been said to pollute every corner of American society for decades. Story 8. When you make plans with someone and they text you at the time you were supposed to meet up with them and they say, hey, sorry, something came up. Can we hang out in 20 minutes to 1 hour? Okay. When you are already there at the place. So you have to wait around. A little warning would be nice, though. Story 9. When people are purposefully inconsiderate. Life is really rough, friend. This situation is straight up unpleasant sometimes. It often takes little to no effort to just think of the next person after you and make someone else's day a whole lot better than it could have been by taking the time to do something minor. For example, replace your shopping cart next time, please. Story 10. People who will lie to you but eventually tell on themselves anyway. If you're going to keep things from me and hide how you actually feel, at least be good at lying first. Story 11. My neighbors, who refuse to remove their infested and dead-ash trees to save money, really test my patience. Yes, when those trees fall, they may damage their roof or disrupt the power supply in the neighborhood for a day or two, but it seems saving money is all they care about. Story 12. When patrons at the gym I work for treat the staff, myself included, like we're wait staff, it's quite frustrating. Just today, we had a guy whistling at a coworker and made a scene, saying, bring me a paper towel with disinfectant spray on it to wipe the equipment I just used. My coworker walked over and said, please reread our rules that are posted. Rule 3 states gym employees are not your personal cleaning crew to clean up after you. Clean all used equipment yourself. The patron said, yeah, you know it's not in my hand? Paper towel like I requested. Now get on it. Luckily, my boss overheard and saw the whole thing. She recognized the patron as someone she went to school with, and she had security escort him to the locker room to claim his gym bag after he cleaned the equipment. Then she told him, upon their arrival at the front door, 1-month ban for your behavior. Do not return until September 29th. Story 13. When a family adopts a foster child who often have issues from abuse or neglect, and then later decides the child is too hard to care for and gives them back to the state, it is all I can do not to be extremely upset. Story 14. Parents of young kids who use TikTok psychobabble to explain why they cannot just be consistent with their discipline and raise decent humans. It's lazy, annoying for everyone else, and dangerous for the future. It makes me want to break into a crib factory and insert a leaflet explaining assertiveness and boundaries into every box. Story 15. Bad grammar among native English speakers is notable. If English is not your first language, you gain recognition for being bilingual. However, being unable to properly write in your native tongue is often seen as laziness. Story 16. Political double standard. The right wing can support a convicted felon, a failure in business, and someone accused of civil rape while still maintaining solid support from their base. However, everyone else is held to a standard more perfect than that of a deity. Barack Obama lost a significant amount of support going into his 2012 election. The primary reason Joe Biden was unpopular was due to his age. Donald Trump still has a good shot of winning even with Kamala Harris running. This same kind of comparison can be made globally, involving figures like Boris Johnson, Silvio Berlusconi, and Rob and Doug Ford. Story 17. The breakdown of the medical bills from my child's birth. You want me to pay how much? We have great insurance too, which makes me worry for other families and their medical debt. Yes, we're in the United States. Story 18. People cruising in the left lane of a two-lane highway. Whenever people are passing you on the right lane, you need to get out of the left lane. Whenever you have more than two cars behind you, you need to get out of the left lane. People that cut you off and then turn off at the next exit, making you slow down or stop because now they are in front of you. Story 19. When objects do not do the thing for which they were designed. Towels that do not dry things. A dustpan that does not collect the garbage swept into it. Knives that do not cut. Non-slip shoes that have no traction. That adhesive remover that never removes the goo. Non-stick pans to which food absolutely sticks. Story 20. When people say we, when they really mean you. Examples. How are you today? You need a haircut. You need to get this mess cleaned up. You need to think about what to have for dinner tonight. Story 21. People or groups of people who walk slowly or take up the entire sidewalk. Acting as if no one else exists but themselves. Drive me crazy. Have some awareness. Story 22. I hate it when someone interferes in my affairs, forcibly opens my door to satisfy their own needs, or lies to me. Lying is something I deeply despise, and it makes me very angry.